And why would anyone take a Tim Pool or someone who's being paid by Russia, and especially when it comes to Ukraine and Russia, why would anyone take you serious? When it comes to independent media, I can't speak English right now. When it comes to independent media, after what happened with Tim Pool and the company he was working for, Tenet, whatever, after that blow up, and unfortunately I wasn't creating content when that happened, so I wish I could have just put my 2 cents in when it was actually being talked about. My thought was independent media is no longer a safe area, if that makes sense. Like, it's no longer the opposing views of mainstream media, because I mean, just in the names, like, mainstream media is going to be like Fox News, CNN is going to be a polar size, like just very blatant polar size. They're going to be pushing a narrative that may not be their own, but they work for a $1 million, not $1 million, but multi-million-dollar company who is ran by a few people, and they want to push a narrative, you know what I'm saying? Which essentially that's kind of what everyone does, but no one wants to trust a Fox News or a CNN because it feels like they're not being genuine when talking about, hot button topics, because they're paid to speak a narrative. They're paid to just talk bullet points, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Fox News is always going to be Republican first. Democrats are the enemies. CNN is going to be exact opposite. They're going to be Democrat, and Republicans are the idiots. Hands down. But independent media, like I guess essentially what I am, is supposed to be the regular person in the room. Like, hey, I got my own opinions. This is the information that I read that, concluded for me to end up at this perspective. But when you add money to that, let's say Kamala Harris was paying me not millions because of how I'm dressing and, but let's say they were paying me like a Tim Scott or Tim Pool, $400,000 a month. You would have you would look at me sideways. You would not fully trust what I'm saying because I'm getting paid lots of money from a political entity. So no matter what I say, you're going to take it with a grain of salt and be like, you're being paid by the Democrats. I'm going to listen, but I'm just going to assume that you're being paid to say that. And that's exactly what the situation with Tim Pool getting his money from Russia. If he knew it, he's a human being and he's just trying to get paid. That's literally what a grifter does. Or if he didn't know, then he's an idiot, and the Russian government seen something in him that was beneficial for them. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here or there because I don't really think it's an important story. But Andrew Schulz and these comedians, I love it when regular people who are pretty decently informed had these conversations, because that to me is where the Central American is. You know what I'm saying? It's not too far left, not too far right. It's just right there in the middle. So I love to hear their conversation regarding independent media and Tim Pool in that situation. So let's go ahead and hear what they have to say.
You could be like, all right, maybe.
Yeah.
The point that I think that we should be making here is that all of the independent journalists and independent media that has been shaming mainstream media for being biased, for being bought by the corporations, I think it's very hard for them to continue doing that, knowing that they don't spend that much time vetting the people sponsoring their videos. Because if you really care about being unbiased, even if you are in your videos, the fact that the people know that you've been bought by special interest groups, it can discredit what you're saying.
Yeah.
In the same way that we discredit CNN or Fox News for maybe not being as critical as they could be about the pharmaceutical industries because they are responsible for 50% of their ads. Now, CNN and Fox might be like, we do stories all the time about how fucked up the pharmaceutical industry and the Sackler family pushing fentanyl, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the perception is still you're bought.
It's also worth noting that the report basically says that they had influence on their content. So it wasn't for some of them.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I read that the DOJ said that all of them outside of the Lauren Chen and her husband, all the other creators are not being accused of ties or espionage or having their videos be manipulated. That's what I read in the DOJ report.
This says the two defendants requested that tenant influencers produce content blaming the Crocus City Hall attack on Ukraine and the U.S.
But that doesn't mean that they were forced to make that content. It just means that that content aligned with what they
No, I
wanted.
think they're saying they asked them to make it, but it doesn't say who. It could have been one person. Like they asked them to make that content, and the rest of them didn't know.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it doesn't say which one, and it always just says like commentator 1 and 2, and just says their subscriber amount. So it doesn't actually say who did what.
Yeah.
But according to this, it just says that the two defendants requested that tenant influencers produce content blaming this attack on Ukraine. So if they're requesting it, again, I don't know if they agreed to it. Maybe they said no.
They could have asked, they could have just asked Lauren Chen and her husband, and then they decided who they wanted to make that content. They told those guys to make that content. They made that
And
content.
maybe they said no. They said,
the guys who didn't know
we don't
didn't
want
know.
to.
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily, but
But one thing that I do know, and I wish I would have pulled up the video, I'll probably play it at some point, like right now.
Wiping out some key areas. If Russia uses any kind of actual higher yield nuclear weapon, then it's World War III and they know it. But I don't know that it matters anymore. This is psychotic. Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by the Democrats. I will stress this again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine.
After seeing how Tim Pool acted with the whole, he slammed his table. I don't want to do that because I got too many lights in an expensive camera right there. But he slammed on his desk. It was like, Ukraine is the enemy. And, America must understand that Ukraine is the enemy. Like, after seeing that, because I don't really watch Tim Pool. Like, I watch Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, and, maybe some Matt Walsh. But Tim Pool just seems like an actual idiot. And like, there's nothing to even that's worth disagreeing and like putting energy into that. Like, whatever. But after seeing that, it's like, and you were getting paid by Russia? And you saying that? Like I said, if he didn't know, they seen that or previous videos that were essentially similar to that. It was like, we're essentially going to kind of butter you up into continuing making content like that. And why would anyone take a Tim Pool or someone who's being paid by Russia, and especially when it comes to Ukraine and Russia, why would anyone take you serious? And that to me is the reason why independent media is going to be questioned and is essentially going to turn into mainstream media, because money influences people, and then when people are influenced, they are going to be, just molded into a narrative. And to be honest, and I'm pretty sure they made the jokes kind of before where I started the video. Money talks. If somebody was going to pay me $100,000 per video to keep saying what I'm saying, I'm a strong person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have strong morals. I have a high standard in the way that I move in this world and to others. But if somebody's paying me $100,000 and let's just make the scenario worse. If somebody is paying me $100,000 to say the Black Lives Matter movement was all a sham, everything about it, from George Floyd to the organizations, they're all a fraud. They all planned it, and it's a scam. If you're willing to pay me $100,000 to just keep repeating that, well, damn it, the Black Lives Matter movement was a scam. You know what I'm saying? Because money, and it's weird because we live in a system to where you are kind of deprived from living the best life that you can. So when big money's being thrown at you, your morals, your standards is going to be thrown out the window. You know what I'm saying? Unless you Jesus, you're going to, it's a good chance. I don't say you are, because you probably a better person than me, but you're going to look at your circumstances and be like, I'm barely making it and I need the money. So is Tim Pool, wrong for doing that? Like, no, in the sense of what I just explained, but don't pretend as if you're an independent journalist or a commentator. Stand on your business. Say, hey, I'm being paid by X, Y, and Z, and they're not telling me what to say. They're only paying me to support what I'm saying. And I'm just going to keep saying what I'm saying. This is my sponsors. This is how, well, he may not have to disclose how much they're paying, but be proud of it. Because then when people find out and you want to act stupid all of a sudden, now it looks a little bit more suspicious. So all I'm saying is, you're not wrong for taking the money. If you want to continue pushing Russian propaganda, then that's on you. But stand on your business. Say it with your chest. Don't be shy. Don't be scared. Say it with your chest. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's the death of independent media. Or at least that's where the striking blow starts, and I guarantee it's just only going to get worse from there. So, but once again, if you think I'm wrong, if you think Tim Pool did nothing wrong, and I'm being paid millions, that I want somebody to tell me I'm being paid by Kamala Harris millions of dollars, because I think that'd be funny. I think that would honestly be funny. But if you think that's the case, of course, let me know in the comments down below. And like always, let's have that conversation. I don't know what to do with my hands when I say that. Let's have that conversation.